The Rock addresses inauthentic part of early WWE character, Vince McMahon's direction. The Rock, then known as Rocky Maivia, won his first Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 13. Notable, however, was the crowd's reaction to the match, with Maivia getting booed out of the building. Rock sat down with Mark Kerr in a promotional interview with Sports Illustrated, ahead of The Smashing Machine theatrical release, while a video of that match played in the background. Rock commented on this early version of his WWE character. "This is me at WrestleMania 13 in Chicago. I was a rookie and Vince McMahon told me very early, you're going to become the youngest Intercontinental Champion, but you have to smile all the time. When you go out, your music plays, you got to smile. As you come back, you got to smile." And I remember telling him, I was like, man, that doesn't feel real authentic. Rock went on to explain McMahon's logic behind the constant smiling. And he goes, "Yeah, but I want to make sure people know that you're grateful to be here." And I went and I thought, God, I wonder if there's another way, but he's the boss. So what you're seeing there at WrestleMania 13 is that's a culmination of months of being inauthentic, not being real, smiling. I mean, dude, I used to go out, my music would hit, and fans would be like, you suck. And I'd have to smile, yeah, thanks, man. Rock's last appearances in WWE have been panned by most fans, as to date, there has not been a follow-through on his involvement in John Cena's heel turn at Elimination Chamber. Conversely, his acting career is reaching another level, as Christopher Nolan recently called his performance in The Smashing Machine the best of the year, and he will soon co-star in a Hawaii-set thriller featuring Leonardo DiCaprio and Emily Blunt, directed by Martin Scorsese. Wrestlers who underwent drastic transformations after dropping steroids. The use of steroids is thankfully not as synonymous with professional wrestling as it once was. Back in the days of the likes of Hulk Hogan and other legends, what is known as the juice, or gear, was often used to give these athletes their larger-than-life appearances. Anabolic steroids, which are a chemical derivative of testosterone, have been used by athletes across professional sports of many kinds to increase muscle mass, become more aggressive, or increase body weight. When used incorrectly, anabolic steroids can lead to serious health problems like high blood pressure, heart disease, liver damage, cancers, and more, according to the New York State Department of Health. However, these health risks often aren't enough to discourage athletes, in this case, professional wrestlers and sports entertainers, to not use them to achieve a bulked-up look. Steroid use in wrestling came to the forefront of national media during Vince McMahon's steroid distribution trial in 1994. A Pennsylvania doctor was convicted years prior of illegally supplying steroids, and it was revealed at his trial that the doctor had supplied steroids to the then WWF, specifically to McMahon's office in Stamford, Connecticut, leading to the trial of McMahon. Ultimately, McMahon was found not guilty, but the accusations behind the trial remain one of the biggest scandals in wrestling history, and many wrestlers have spoken out about them. In the case of the professional wrestlers on this list, many of whom are admitted users of steroids, when they stopped the cycle, they were unrecognizable. Hulk Hogan, one of McMahon's first megastars, was called up to testify during the steroid trial. Before the trial, Hogan was adamant that he had never taken steroids. When faced with questions in the courtroom under oath, however, Hogan admitted to taking steroids and said steroid use was fairly common among wrestlers in the company in the 80s. During the trial, Hogan said he would call McMahon's secretary to place an order with the Pennsylvania doctor convicted of distributing steroids. Hogan also said on the stand he never took the drugs for performance-enhancing purposes, but rather to work through injuries. Hogan, notorious for his 24-inch pythons, has never clarified exactly when he stopped his steroid use, but his changing appearance after the trial could be a good indication. During an interview in 1993, Hogan said he survived it, meaning the heavy steroid use allegedly rampant within the company in the 80s, and he was going to be around for a while. Hogan's last televised match took place at TNA Bound for Glory 2011, a loss to fellow legend Sting, where the Hulkster appeared in shape, but nothing like the comic book superhero-like persona he portrayed during his WWF Glory years. The 69-year-old, who has gone through numerous surgeries in recent years, has also confirmed he can no longer wrestle with WWE. Vince McMahon, the face behind the 1994 steroid trial himself, after being indicted by the U.S. Department of Justice, McMahon said he utilized steroids in 1991, before they became illegal under the Controlled Substances Act. That's also when the then chairman and CEO declared WWF drug-free and wrestlers began to be tested for steroids, and presumably when McMahon stopped using the performance enhancers himself. McMahon's physique remained admirable for years following the trial. He went on to grace the cover of Muscle and Fitness magazine in 2015. McMahon, who was almost 70 years old at that point, told the magazine he trained each part of his body once a day every week, common practice for bodybuilders. McMahon, who underwent a serious spine operation in 2023 partially due to overtraining and doing squats longer than recommended at his age, has been seen walking with a cane and is not likely to get back in a WWE ring anytime soon. His last match was a surprise bout against Pat McAfee with involvement from Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 38, and saw McMahon come out victorious. While it may be age rather than quitting steroids, the Vince McMahon seen in media these days, including the press conference announcing WWE's merger with UFC, is a far cry from the man who once utilized steroids to stay in shape. Lex Luger is a former WCW World Champion and WWF star who has been extremely open about his prior steroid use, going as far as calling himself one of the biggest cheaters in the wrestling industry when it came to performance-enhancing drugs. The narcissist admitted he took a 6-week cycle, shutting down his body's natural creation of steroids, and replacing the hormones that his body would not produce with testosterone to bulk up. As for drug tests, Luger said he would sneak in fake urine to provide samples. He would also mask the drugs within his urine by touching it with Vaseline-coated fingers, or even intimidate technicians to lie on his behalf. We all always wished there was a level playing field, but it was kind of like, work hard, play hard, if the rest of the guys are taking it, you didn't want the guys to have an edge, Luger once said about steroid use within professional wrestling. Toward the end of his career, Luger said he switched from steroids to an anti-aging supplement, which helped him look leaner compared to the bulkiness caused by steroids. Luger has admitted he lived a hard lifestyle, which he once told ESPN also involved other drugs and alcohol. Luger is almost completely unrecognizable now. His wrestling career ended in 2007 when he was paralyzed following a nerve injury in his neck, although he is now thankfully able to walk with the use of a cane.